Okay, let's jump right in. We've got the source material here, and it's all about really mastering injection techniques.
Right.
This deep dive is really built for you, especially if you're, say, prepping for an OSCE exam,
Hmm.
where getting it exactly right is key.
Absolutely. Precision is everything there.
So we're pulling out the absolute must-knows from these sources.
The kid.
The techniques, yeah, but also the common slip-ups.
The pitfalls, yeah, what trips people up constantly. And the sources, they really focus on two main types, don't they?
Uh-huh.
You've got intramuscular, IM, that's the deep one, into the muscle. Think vaccines, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And then there's subcutaneous, subcut,
Right.
just under the skin, insulin, heparin. Common examples there.
Got it. And our mission here is basically to show you what these sources flag as absolutely essential, the core skills.
And critically, what not to do.
Yeah.
Because the sources are pretty stark, aren't they? They mentioned examiners failing. Was it like 40% of candidates?
Yeah, around 40%. Specifically on injections, that's significant.
It really is.
Yeah.
So these details matter a lot.
Okay, so let's start with IM, intramuscular. The source singles out the ventrogluteal site, calls it the gold standard.
Yes, and it lays out a very specific method to find it. It's all about safety. You're making a V shape.
A V shape, how does that work?
Okay, so you place the heel of your hand on the greater prochander, that bunny bit on your hip side,
Uh-huh.
the hip bone bump.
Exactly. Point your index finger towards the ASIS, that front bony point on the hip. Spread your middle finger back, and boom, inject right in the middle of that V.
Right in the V.
And the source has this tip, kind of a mental check. Actually say out loud, using ventrogluteal for safest muscle access. Helps lock it in.
Okay, ventrogluteal V. Got it.
Yeah.
And angle. Always 90 degrees for IM, right?
Yeah.
Straight in.
Yep. Firm, 90 degrees, perpendicular.
Yeah.
Now here's a step the source really hammers home. A major trip-up point.
Which
I
is
have to aspirate for like 2 seconds.
aspirate, meaning pull back on the plunger a bit.
Exactly. After the needle's in, but before you push the meds, you're checking. Checking for what?
Blood. Simple as that. Did you accidentally hit a vessel? If you see blood flash back into the syringe,
Then what?
stop. Source says withdraw immediately. New site. Start over. Can't inject into a blood vessel.
Okay, that makes sense. So connecting that back to the failure points the source mentions for IM.
Yeah, the big ones candidates apparently get dinged on.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, according to the source, wrong site. Using the dorsogluteal, the old buttock site. Never do that.
Why not?
Higher risk. Sciatic nerve, major blood vessels. Ventrogluteal is just much safer.
Okay, so wrong site is number one. What else?
Forgetting to aspirate. That's huge. Or maybe rushing the injection push itself, not being deliberate.
Right. Okay, let's switch to subcutaneous, though.
Yeah.
Under the skin. Common spots.
Sources list the abdomen, but keep it 2 inches away from the navel. Thighs are common too. Upper arms.
And rotation is key here, isn't it?
Absolutely crucial. You got to cycle through those sites. Don't keep hitting the same spot. Prevents skin thickening, tissue damage, that sort of thing, lipohypertrophy.
Right. Now, the angle's different here, which is interesting. Source says 45 degrees for insulin.
Yeah, 45 for insulin, but get this, 90 degrees straight in for heparin subcut.
Huh. Okay, so same 90 degrees as IM, but for heparin subcut only?
Right. And another difference from IM, the source really stresses pushing subcut meds slowly.
Slowly. Examiners watch for that.
Apparently, yes. They want that controlled, steady push. And then after injecting, hold that needle in place, about 10 seconds.
I like a hold.
Helps the medication disperse properly under the skin, prevents it leaking back out.
Makes sense. And one rule applies to both, right? The sources are really clear.
Oh, yeah. Never, ever recap a used needle. Basic safety. Needle stick injuries are no joke.
Absolutely. Sharp goes straight into the sharp spin.
Always. And documentation. Don't forget that.
Right. What needs noting?
Site used, dose given, and how the patient tolerated it. Any reaction. Completes the loop.
So, pulling this all together from our deep dive, what's the takeaway? Mastering injections, it seems, is really about these specific, detailed steps.
It really is. Knowing the right site, that ventrogluteal V for IM, rotating the subcut sites, getting the angle spot on, 90 for IM and heparin, 45 for insulin.
And those crucial little actions, like aspirating for IM and knowing why you do it, checking for blood.
Uh-huh. Or that slow push and the 10-second hold for subcut meds. The sources make it clear. Avoiding those big errors like using the wrong IM site or skipping aspiration, That's what competent practice looks like. That's what examiners are screening for.
Yeah, it really highlights how much precision matters. Attention to every detail, even saying the steps aloud like the source suggested, it can make a real difference.
Definitely.
Which kind of leaves us with a thought for you, listening. In learning any complex skill, really, how much does truly understanding the why, the reason behind each small step actually help you master the technique and, more importantly, avoid those critical failures? Something to think about.